If you guys do recall when I uploaded the video, The Legacy of Ron Paul, in my video titled The Legacy of Ron Paul, I actually mentioned three people. Ron Paul and Ross Perot are also, what's it called, the independent people who are against the mainstream establishment and names that are no longer remembered, really, for the most part. And they are remembered, but most people still don't know who Ron Paul really is. But I also mentioned one person, Jesse Ventura, who himself has a lot of personality, a lot of charisma, and is a great talker, especially on the mic. And when it comes to being interviewed, he always makes some great points. I mean, he drops some hardcore truth bombs. But I will say this, though. He's actually thinking about running for 2020. But here's the thing. If he runs for president in the year 2020, next year, I will definitely vote for him. I've mentioned this in my video. However, that's not even the big announcement. Here's my announcement. If Jesse the Mind Ventura doesn't run for 2020 at all, and he's only playing with the idea, but he doesn't do anything about it, then I will definitely consider voting for Trump. I may vote for Trump. Now, I never really liked the guy that much, but I've been very pleased with what he has done for this country so far. He has lowered the price of prescription medicine. Um, Unemployment has actually gotten lower under the Trump administration. And, this is the guy who himself actually withdrew the troops from the Middle East, from Syria. And I don't know when they're all officially going to be pulled out of the country. And he's also reducing the number of troops in Afghanistan because, it's time for the troops to come home. That's it. But when you stop to think about it, I think this is actually a good thing. And I just found out recently that Elizabeth Warren is placed a bid to run for president in 2020. That's somebody I refuse to vote for. After she endorsed Hillary, I was no longer on that bandwagon. She should have endorsed Bernie Sanders, who at the time did not sell out to Hillary Clinton. Of course, until he did, then that's when I realized I'm not voting for that guy again. But like I said, if and only if Jesse Ventura does not run for president in the year 2020, then I will definitely think about voting for Donald Trump. And I'm not kidding when I say this. I'm actually considering this, voting for Donald Trump. Because he's withdrawing troops out of the country. And this is something that I wanted for a long time. And I know but here's the thing, I know, Donald Trump is not fond of Muslims. He doesn't like them. But what I will say is this. By withdrawing the troops from Syria, in a way, he's actually kind of helping the Muslims. In a way, because, maybe the Muslims can just, live in that country. They can live in their own country, probably, a little bit better. Their life might be a little bit better, actually. Because the invasion of Syria was a big mistake to begin with. Overthrowing Assad so that ISIS can take over, that's a problem in itself. So with that being said, after all the good things Donald Trump has actually done in this country, I can't really say that about George Bush. I can't even say that about Obama. And with that being said, let's not forget something. 11% of Muslims actually voted for Donald Trump in 2016. So maybe Donald Trump is not exactly the villain he really was portrayed to be. But I will say this, though. This is my announcement. In 2020, if Jesse the Body Ventura doesn't run, I will definitely consider voting for Trump. Because honestly, he's a much better choice than Hillary Clinton, and definitely a much better choice than that sellout Elizabeth Warren. Like I said, I'm only thinking about it. But that is if Jesse Ventura does not run, because if he runs, I'm voting for him without hesitation. I've heard his points, and I know much how he's definitely against the mainstream establishment. I mean, this guy is not afraid to express his views. I mean, when he was governor and mayor of Minnesota, he was like the Donald Trump of his time. I mean, he wasn't afraid to say anything. Only difference is he's not anti-Muslim at all, and he doesn't, you know, and he's not like, and he has some different views, of course, and I agree with most of his views, not all. But I agree with more of Jesse Ventura's views than Donald Trump's views, honestly. But yeah, I mean, from what I'm seeing, like, I mean, Donald Trump also displayed some excellent knowledge when it comes to the military. And he's also made some good points, especially when he went ballistic on Mitt Romney, saying that, I mean, if he was aggressive as I was during the election, then maybe he would have been president. And I agree with that. But he does want to get the troops out of the Middle East because he realizes how much of a mess this was. So yeah, definitely thinking about it. Definitely thinking about it.